Welcome to this week's What's for Dinner video. My name is Ashley and I'm going to show you 3 different meals I made this week. I don't always follow recipes exactly, but if you are interested, I have linked some similar recipes down below. So the first dinner I'm going to show you is my rendition of SkinnyTaste Carne Asada fries. Obviously, I don't eat much red meat at all, so I did substitute for grilled chicken. So I did start by cutting up the potatoes. I have made this dish one time before and it took me a second to remember how I did the french fries, but I am just going to cut them up into french fry form, season them, and then put them in the oven. A tip that I have heard over time is to put them in some cold water and let them sit because that gets the starch out, which helps them become a little bit more crispy. I'm not totally sure if it worked, but it is worth a try. So I am just going to season the french fries. I didn't put any oil on them or anything. I did use some paprika, garlic salt, onion powder, Cajun seasoning, some cumin, and some garlic salt. I probably would have not done the garlic salt because they did come out a little too salty. So then I'm just going to mix them all together, put them on a baking tray. I was praying that this fit on the tray that I chose, and then I just put them in the oven at about 400 degrees until they were crispy. So like I said, I am going to switch out the meat to chicken. I don't eat much red meat, so you will see a lot of my meals do have to do with chicken. I do eat the occasional bacon, meatballs, hot dogs, but for the most part, all of my meals will be chicken. So here I am just seasoning the chicken with basically all the same seasonings I use for potatoes. I usually use all the same seasonings anyway, with cumin when I am making more Mexican type dishes. So then I'm just going to grill these on a pan. I just have the pan set on medium high. I ended up cooking them a little too much on this one side, you will see, but they still did come out great. So then I'm just going to chop the chicken up into bite-sized pieces and use about 1 chicken breast per plate. So the recipe calls for making your own pico de gallo. This is probably one of the only things that I actually followed in the recipe. So I am just going to chop up an onion, tomato, and some jalapenos. Not the right knife to cut tomatoes. I'm clearly not the best vegetable chopper, but this hack of rolling your cilantro definitely did help me learn how to cut cilantro better. So then I'm just going to add some lime juice and mix it all together. So then I just topped it with a little bit of homemade guacamole, and this is how everything looked once it was done. So the next meal that I'm going to show you, I made some Caprese chicken paninis for dinner. So I'm going to start off by cutting a chicken breast in half and seasoning it. I did lightly season this one. I just used the Montreal chicken seasoning and some garlic lever seasoning. I would say the McCormick Montreal chicken seasoning is probably my favorite seasoning ever. The taste and the smell is amazing. So then I'm just going to heat up a little bit of oil in a pan. I have my pan set on about medium heat, and then I'm just going to cook this up until it's brown on both sides. So once the chicken is done, I'm just going to take it off of the pan and let it rest for about 10 minutes. So I'm just going to work on assembling the panini. So I am just chopping up part of a tomato. My fiance isn't too much of a fan of tomatoes, so I'll only cut a little bit, and then I'm just going to make the paninis. So I am using some fresh mozzarella that I got from my dairy section in my grocery store. I wasn't sure how fresh mozzarella actually melts, so I did put a lot on, and I am just putting the rest of the ingredients. And I'm just going to grill it up on my George Foreman grill. So this George Foreman grill actually lets you know with a light when the food is ready. So this is how everything turned out. I definitely liked it, and we had leftovers. So the next recipe I'm going to show you is Quesa Tacos. That is what the recipe called it. So I am just trimming off the fat, and then I'm just going to cook the chicken in my Instant Pot. So I do like to season my chicken just a little bit when it goes in the Instant Pot with some garlic salt, cumin, onion powder, and some chicken bouillon powder. I also like to add just a little bit of water and set the Instant Pot to 19 minutes on high pressure. So I'm going to get started on my Mexican rice. To a pan, I'm just adding some oil, 1 cup of rice, and I'm going to mix that around until it is toasted. And then I'm going to add half a teaspoon of cumin and a couple tablespoons of this tomato base. With this, you want to keep stirring until it's fragrant. I add 1 teaspoon of garlic salt, 1 teaspoon of chicken bouillon powder, and 1 teaspoon of tomato bouillon. For 1 cup of rice, I am adding 2 cups of water, and I'm just going to bring it up to a simmer. Once it reaches a simmer, I'm just going to turn the heat down to low and put a lid on it. The crucial part is you have to keep the lid on it for 20 minutes without opening it. And you should end up with some nice fluffy Mexican rice. For the refried beans, I'm going to do this hack that I saw Jen Chapin do. You just put it in a baking dish, put some cheese on it with some foil, and I put mine in the oven at about 350 degrees. For the chicken mixture, I'm just going to get started chopping a little bit of an onion and some cilantro. Rolling your cilantro before cutting it is another hack I've learned recently. So I'm just going to squeeze some lime juice to the mixture, stir it all around. Once the chicken is done, I'm going to add this to the chicken. Once the chicken comes out of the crock pot, I'm just going to shred it. This is where I'm going to season the chicken some more, so I am just going to use some cumin, some enchilada sauce, onion powder, garlic powder, and some more chicken bouillon powder. Once I've got that all mixed around, I'm going to add the onions and cilantro. To make the Quesa tacos, I am just going to dip each tortilla in some enchilada sauce, which is sitting on the other burner getting warm. So you want to lie the tortilla down in the pan, add the chicken, add the cheese, close it up, and let it just fry on each side. Once the bottoms start to get a little crispy, you're going to flip them. Here's how they looked once they're done. This is a dish I am super proud of and I will definitely make again. Thank you for watching this week's What's for Dinner video. Make sure you subscribe and come back next week for another one.